Hey everyone, so here I am with the new tutorial. I was working on customization character package from Unreal Engine, and basically what I faced some challenges like how can I integrate this into multiplayer and how would I sync these outfits in the multiplayer. So basically let me show you the result first and then we'll go to the tutorial how I achieved this. So this is basically the server build. I'm running the server build on my local machine, and then I'll run the client build. So I've created two builds basically, one for client and one for server. I'm using basically dedicated server for now. It is on my local machine. So this is the customization package that I've purchased, and this is really nice package. So I'm using this one. So you can try different things with this package, but let me use this one. And when I click on confirm button, you will see me, I'll spawn into the world. So now let me run another instance so that I can show you how I sync to characters. So let me just customize another character. Let me use this one for this one, and let me show you how this is getting spawned. So if you look here, I'm using these two characters. Ignore my scene lighting and everything because I'm still doing this, and this is still in progress, this project, but this is basically what I've achieved. Let me show you the other client. Okay, it's here. So basically everything is synced up and working properly. So I'll show you how I did this basically. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I've created two maps. One like I'm using this customization character map as my entry map. Like if I go to the project setting and show you that as well, because that will help you obviously. So if you go to that and then max and mods, and then if I show you the settings, so this is the CC crowd demo that comes by default with this package. So I'm using that as my entry map and my editor startup map, and this is the level, basically the empty level that I have created for the server map. So this map basically runs on the server. So if we go to this one, let me show you my server level. So this is basically the server level. So for server level, what I basically did, I'm not using any default pawn here because I'm spawning that pawn from my player controller, and these are some of the custom blueprints that I have created. So one is the game mode. I've renamed this to the server because I'm using these in the server map. I've created game mode, game state. Basically, I haven't done anything in the game state, but I have created this for future use. And then the player controller map basically, and then I have created the player state, which I haven't used. So the two main blueprints that I've used here is the player controller and the game mode. So I'll close the remaining blueprints just to avoid any confusion. So this is basically the game mode. So I'm not doing anything in the begin play or event tick. I had just created this spawn player event, which I'm passing two things here. So one is the player controller variable. So this is basically the player controller variable that will come, that will pass into this, and the other one is the saved variable. So this is basically the saved variable that I'm passing to this function, and whenever I spawn my character, I just use values from this variable from my local machine and setting up my character according to that. So the first thing that I'm using in this, so the first thing that you should be using is you have to basically check if there is already a pawn in your scene. You have to destroy that because we are spawning another pawn in this. So I'm basically, what I'm doing, get controller pawn from this player controller, which we pass in here, and we're basically like we are destroying the already existing pawn and then passing this as a target. Okay, so what I'm basically like, if there is a already a pawn existing, we are basically, I'm destroying. Don't mind my layout, because I'm going to refine this and just make it pretty a little bit, but that is my later in my later stages. I hope you will understand. So I'm using get controlled pawn from the player controller, and I'm destroying the already existing pawn. And what I'm doing basically here is I'm spawning a new character. So here you see I'm basically spawning the customizable character. Okay, so if you download that package, if you are using that customization package, you will find this one. So this is basically the customization character class. So I'm spawning that, and I've also used another function for getting the initial transform. So if you go to this function, it already exists in this one. So I've created a function, a pure function. Basically, this is basically a pure function. So I've created few player start locations. If you go there, I've created 5 player start positions, and when I'm finding just random player start. So if you go through this, I'm getting all actors of player start, and then getting through that length and finding a random start position for my player. So this is pretty easy. You just have to get the array of player start actor, and then in those actors you just have to subtract 1 to get like a random integer between 0 to 4 in my case, and it will give you the random location. So that was the spawn actor function basically. And if you go again to this one, I'm spawning my actor, and then you have to possess this character as well, right? So whatever it returns, you have to possess that character, and with that character we need to set up our customization data on that specific character, whatever we spawn. Okay, so basically for future use, I'm in my PC server, my player controller. I have used this variable customization character. If you even don't use this right now, I've used this for future use, because I wanted this to be available in my player controller as well. But if you even skip these two steps, you can directly come to this step, set rep notify. Okay, and here you have to pass that cc saved variable that I'm passing to it whenever I call this function. I'll show you in a moment like how I'm passing this variable to this blueprint. Okay, so sorry again, don't mind my layout, but I hope you will understand what I'm trying to. So I'm passing this character, whatever I've spawned, I'm just passing that character here, right? And then I'm getting a component from that character, which is a character customizer component. If you look at this character customizer component, and what I'm basically doing, I'm setting all the variables from this loaded variable, right? So this is basically the whole flow that you have to do in your game mode, right? So this is basically game mode runs on the server. So I hope you have this knowledge that game mode basically runs on the server. So this code will run on your server, and it will basically notify all your clients to set this specific variable to on those specific lines, right? Now where I have to show you where I'm basically calling this. So if we go to our player controller, I'm basically doing, don't mind me, I need to delete this function, but because I haven't used this function anywhere, so I'm going to delete that. Was just the first try that I did. So basically it's event begin play, and then I'm getting if this is the local player. If it is, then what I'm basically doing, I don't want to get this value on my not other player. I just want to get this value from my local player, and then I'll get this save data, and when you click that confirm button, you're basically saving this data to this game slot. So I'm getting this game slot, and then I'm converting it, casting it to this CC game object, and after that I'm getting that specific variable on the basis of name. So you have to get the platform name because every like the name should be unique, so you have to pass that name, and then what you actually have to do, you have to pass this specific player controller. So I'm targeting like the target is self, and the parameter here is server spawn. So I'm passing this loaded variable here basically. So this is basically the loaded variable that you get here. And in the spawn player function, if you go there, I'm basically calling this on server. So if you go there, this should only be run on server, and then I'm casting it to the GM server, which is my custom blueprint for the game mode. Game mode, and I'm casting that to game mode server. And in the game mode server, I'm just calling this spawn player function, which I've already shown to you. And what is required there, I'm basically passing reference to myself, because this is the player controller that I'm using with the server map. And this is basically the loaded variable, the cc underscore loaded variable. So I'm basically passing that cc underscore loaded variable from my local player, which I've already got that, and then I used cast to cc saved object, and then I basically passed that. So I guess this should be renamed to loaded variable, but don't mind my variable names at the moment, because I just wanted to help you all by showing this. So this is pretty much all. And if you want to spawn this on confirm button, so basically what I did, let me show you that to you as well. So if you go to the character customizer widgets, like inside this package, you will have to go to this confirm button, right? And then inside the confirm button, if you click here, you will go to this exit customizer. And inside the exit customizer, because I don't want to spawn the character in the same scene, I want to spawn the character in a different scene, which is basically the server. So what I basically, if you come here, I use the SRV exit customizer, and here I have only used this function to save my data, right? Nothing else. Like, I'm not actually spawning the character, so I'm basically ignoring all these things. I'm just jumping direct to the branch, right? And that branch is basically using this save variable, which should be true, obviously, because you want to save the data as well. So you can pass true here, and then on click, I'm basically saving these values. So I've used this SRV exit customizer function only to save the data, so that I can only get the set the loaded variable, right, for the specific client. And this will give you basically the loaded variable saved. You just look at this function. So exit customizer, you just have to pass this data, right? Pass this data, because you will already find this function inside the customizer package. So you just need these little modifications in here, right? And you just have to set this variable so that it actually saves the data for you, even if you don't do this step, because it is not needed, but you will at least get the saved variable from here, okay? And then inside this exit customizer function, you just have to go there and just remove that pin, because we do not need it to be instantiated here. So we just have to connect to the local server. So this is my IP address. You can put here 127.0.0.1 if you are checking on your local machine. So I'm just using this IP address to connect to my local server, and it will just load that map for you. So you have seen that this is basically on the confirm button. You just have to save the data to the saved variable, and then just load that specific map, right? So this was pretty much it, like the game server. This is basically the game server thing. If you have any question, just write in the comments, and I'll try to give answers as soon as possible. So these are basically all the. This was already all the setup. Then what I did, I basically did the server build, and then I basically created a client build. So that was all, and that was all I wanted to show you. Thank you very much.